Your best friend drives a BMW. You drive a Corolla with a dent. He thinks you are broke. But if he asked you for $2,000 right now, you could say yes without checking your account. Would you rather look rich for 10 years or actually be rich after 10 years? Drop your answer below. Most people make that choice without ever realizing it. Let me take you back. You are 24, direct deposit hits. You feel like an adult for about 48 hours. Then lifestyle inflation shows up. Not in a BMW, in a coffee cup. Dunkin' to Starbucks. Starbucks to someplace that asks about flavor notes. Your rent upgrades because you deserve it. Your phone plan jumps because it is only $40 more. $40. Then the subscriptions. The gym you never use. The slightly nicer Uber. None of it feels like a decision. It feels like gravity. Ryan felt the same gravity, except he bought it. Black BMW 3 years old. Basically nothing, per month. But here is the trap. Every raise dissolves into a slightly better prison. $4,000 more a year. Gone. Nicer apartment. Better phone. 6 months later, you are running faster and standing in the exact same spot. Then an ordinary Tuesday happens. Your manager drops a $1,500 bonus on your desk. You should feel excited. You feel nothing. That night, you do math you've never done before. Not this, month math, life math. 40 years of this. 40 years of paychecks landing and leaving. And at the end, you'll have given everything every single day and still be one bad month from broke. That emptiness. That is when you notice him. The guy in the office you've walked past 1,000 times, 60 years old, drives a 10-year, old Honda, always calm. You ask him, half joking, how he stays so chill. He doesn't laugh. He says 7 words. 7 words you write on a post, it and stick to your monitor. Looking like you made, it isn't making it. You read them every morning, and on the worst night of your life, they're the only thing that makes sense. That night, you open your laptop, you add up everything you actually have. The number is small, embarrassing. Then you do the one thing nobody taught you. You set up auto transfer. Every payday, $500 leaves your checking account before you wake up. Straight into a boring index fund. Boring, silent, out of reach. There is a checkbox on the transfer page. Most people skip it. You check it. Auto increase by 1% every year. You barely think about it. You just click and move on. 10 years later, that barely noticed click has quietly changed your financial life. But you don't know that yet. Nobody does. Fast forward. You are 26, same car, same apartment, same you. You've quietly stopped chasing the things you used to chase. The promotion. You don't fight for the title, the upgrade. You don't mention it. Your friend has a birthday dinner. 12 people at a long table. So what is next for you? The guy across from you made senior manager. The woman beside him bought a condo. Big answers, loud answers. You say you are still at the same job. Things are fine. You watch their faces do the polite disappointment thing. The conversation moves on a beat too fast. You drive home feeling smaller, like you lost a race. Everyone else is still running. At lunch the next week, 2 coworkers sit behind you. They don't see you. One says, I feel bad for him. He works hard. The other says, maybe he sends money home or something. You don't correct them. You can't. You have quietly saved more money than either of them would ever guess. And you cannot say a single word about it. So you eat at your desk, say nothing. Let them think whatever they want. Nobody noticed. That was starting to be the whole point. But here's the loop I haven't closed. 2 years from now, one of those coworkers is going to send you a message on LinkedIn, and the first sentence is going to make you laugh out loud in an airport. 29. You are doing everything right and it feels worse. Your best friend buys a house, sends the photo to the group chat, keys in hand, sold sign, 20 people react, fire emojis. So proud of you, man. The phone buzzes for an hour, you stare at it. You type something. You delete it, you type it again. You can't match that. Not yet. Nobody's going to react to a screenshot of a brokerage account. That night, you take the paper out of the drawer. Look at the circled date. It is still so far away. You did the responsible thing for 5 years, and you have this to show for it. A date on a calendar and a number you are not allowed to be proud of out loud. You lie awake. The thought arrives fully formed. Maybe they were right. Maybe I am the joke. Maybe I gave up the good years for a spreadsheet. You scroll through your phone, Ryan's Instagram, the new watch, the weekend in Miami, the hashtag. You look around your apartment. Same couch, same television, same life. You open your banking app. The number is there, it is growing, but it doesn't feel like winning. It feels like a secret you are keeping from yourself. You almost cash out, not because you need the money, because you want something people can actually see. Your finger hovers over the button, and then you remember the post. It looking like you made it isn't making it. You close the app. You don't feel strong, you feel empty, but you don't break. That night, you don't sleep. You just stare at the ceiling and wonder if you are the only person in the world who feels this lonely for doing the right thing. You are not. But you don't know that yet. 30, you miss the rush. The clear scoreboard, the title that told you exactly where you stood. One night you open the car app just to look. Newer model 0 down, your thumb hovers over the button. You imagine pulling into the lot. You imagine feeling like a player again. Just once, it would cost you everything you've quietly built. You know that. And for 30 seconds, you don't care. You just want to feel like you are winning something. Anything. Your thumb stays there in the dark, and then your phone buzzes. It is a photo from your mom, no caption. Just you at 10 years old, standing in front of your old house, holding a plastic piggy bank. You look at it for a long time, then you close the car app. You open your banking app, you move the money into Marcus instead. 6 months of expenses, an emergency fund. Not because you are paranoid, because you are done being one flat tire away from a disaster. 3 weeks later, the decision is taken out of both your hands. Thursday morning, layoff sweep, half the floor gone. You and Ryan both lose your jobs, but only one of you loses his future. Ryan has payments. You have options. He grabs a worse job in a panic, more debt, deeper hole. Keeps the apartment, keeps the BMW, keeps posting. Everyone thinks you are the one who fell, because you moved back home at 31, old bedroom. Same crack in the ceiling. You sell your motorcycle on Facebook Marketplace. The one thing you owned purely for joy. A guy shows up, counts out the cash. Then he looks at the bike and says, "My dad sold his bike to pay for my college. Best trade he ever made." You stand there for a second. You realize you didn't lose everything. You just traded the toy for the tool. You lie in that childhood bed and do the math. The date you circled at 24 is now further away than the day you started. 7 years of being laughed at, of skipping things, of staying quiet, and you've ended up in the room you grew up in. You almost call it. You almost decide the whole thing was a story you told yourself to feel better about losing. But you don't drain the savings to zero. You don't take the loan. You don't climb back onto the edge just to look okay again. You take the humiliation instead of the debt. And for the first time in months, the numbers stop looking small. They look like time. They look like options. You go back to work eventually, but this time it is a job you chose, not one you grabbed, because rent was due Friday. You walk into the interview and they ask about the gap. You say you took time to find the right fit. They don't know you are sitting on an emergency fund and a boring index fund that let you say no to 3 other offers. That had never been true before in your life. And slowly something shifts. A flat tire becomes a Tuesday errand, not a crisis. A bad boss becomes a thing you can walk away from, not a cage you are locked in. The number was never impressive, but it bought the one thing nobody on the edge will ever have. Options, the ability to say no, the ability to wait. The date you circled at 24 comes and goes on an ordinary Tuesday. You don't even realize it until that evening. Nobody throws a party. You almost missed it yourself. You just look up at the end of the day and notice, quietly, that you crossed it. The people who used to ask if you were okay go quiet, and one by one, the ones who looked like they were winning start asking you the same question, lowered voice, almost embarrassed. Hey, how did you actually do it? You didn't escape by working less, or caring less, or being smarter than them. You escaped by playing a harder game, a game with no scoreboard, where you had to decide what winning even meant, alone in the dark, with nobody clapping for a single move you made. You are 34, Ryan is on your couch. Holding the coffee you made him, he is asking how you did it, and he means it. You think about the date you circled 10 years ago, the dinner where you felt like less, the lunch where they pitied you, the night your thumb hovered over the button, the childhood bedroom where you were sure you'd lost everything. 3 years ago, you were lying in that childhood bed, certain it was over, Turns out that was the moment you'd already won. Nobody knew it yet, including you. You look at Ryan, and you tell him the truth. For 10 years, nobody noticed you were winning. Not your friends, not your family, not Ryan. And that is exactly why it worked. You finally stopped playing a game that needed an audience. Here is the part that'll make some of you unsubscribe. The race doesn't end when you get rich. The race ends the second you stop running. Ryan, he just kept upgrading the treadmill. If you are watching this right now, maybe you are standing on the edge telling yourself you are fine. Maybe you are one emergency away from a problem you can't solve. Maybe you are about to automate your first $500 into a boring index fund and circle a date nobody else will ever see. If you do, nobody's going to notice but you. That is not the tragedy. That is the whole point. So be honest. What is the one payment you are keeping? Just because you don't want other people to think you are broke. Your car, your apartment, your phone, that subscription you forgot about. Drop one word below, and if this video made you open your banking app instead of Amazon, maybe you've already made the right choice.